to meet you, Nico. Good to have you here.
Matty.
Very cool. Always like it when there's a Decentraland team member up here.
All right, Franky. Let us know when you go live. When you're about to.
I'm about to be live now. I believe I'm reloading, and I'm gonna go live in the Gamers Hub Discord as well.
Oh, cool.
As I do. I'm gonna try to use this screen. No, you know what? Maybe I can do the application. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Still missing Bence. Is it Bence or Bence?
I think it's just Bence.
I don't know.
That's how I pronounce it, but Clark Kent always says Bence.
Clark Kent is very.
He's always got me tripping over it.
Clark is what do you call it? Like cultured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, where is Bence anyway? He's not here yet?
He's on his way. I sent him the message.
He's at the radio station in World, but he's not in the
dancing
Spanish
and all
chat
kinds
anymore.
of stuff. Yeah, he's up in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like how everybody has different names, man. It's Bence, and then it's DZ Sunyak, and we got Corv and Oscar. It's like,
yeah,
man, we need to
dude.
A real
it's
life
tough to keep up with people on Twitter like that too.
Yeah,
even Discord, but Twitter too. Like,
yeah, definitely, because it'd be 3 different names. You know, that's why I joke with MK. I still call him Norminal. I call that his government name.
I still call it Sugar Club twos. Like,
he wasn't feeling that one too much. He was like, man, just call me K, man. I don't know what twos is. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, well, it was 2
I know what it was, yeah, because we called them both like that. Like, yeah. I was like joking with him one time when I was talking with him. And he was just like looking at me like, for real? That's what y'all call me? Like, yeah, we just made it up, you know?
No, it's just easier. No, that's funny though. What's up, Bence? Can you hear us, Bence?
We can't hear you.
I hope you can't hear me.
Yeah, just check the audio settings.
No?
Nope, still can't hear you.
Matty's cat just pops
Probably
up.
got to do something with his headphone audio.
Cat gets jealous when I'm on my laptop.
I think we heard you. Was that you, Bence?
Why am I having trouble loading up now?
Let's see what's going on in Decentraland. What's your coordinates, Frankie? I always forget it, man. It's like...
It's 56, negative 24.
56, negative 24. 56,
yeah.
Negative 24. 56, negative 24. Print that in my head.
Can you hear me now, guys?
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice.
Full team has assembled.
Nice.
The Avengers?
Yep.
Voltron?
I don't know.
Okay, so what about now? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just had Franky's place open in the Decentraland as well, and it was echoing.
Oh yeah, you gotta turn the sound off there. It messes with you.
Oh yeah, we gotta mute our in-world game.
Did you sleep well the last few days, Bence?
What? Fine? Did I sleep well?
Yeah, now that the tournament's finished and you can actually rest.
This was probably my first day of sleep since the tournament started. So. Oh yeah, guys, it was just crazy.
It was,
no one should undertake this with Matty. I don't know you, but it was a huge undertaking. I think. In 2 weeks.
For me, it was just the starting part that was tough. The start, like just getting all the teams organized and making sure everyone's okay. And then when it started, it was fine for me. But it's obviously for you because you had to be more hands-on and make sure everything worked well every damn match. It would have been pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could actually see the improvements between matches. Like it would get better, and then
Yeah, well, I wanted to shout out to your team, actually, Nico. The back-end team also made huge improvements. So people kept I kept on saying that I made some improvements, but it was more on Decentraland side, I believe. So you guys did something that made it better, even with more people connected to each round. So that helped a lot. Thanks.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was in Fenrir Amber during, I think, the semifinals, and it was as smooth as butter. I couldn't believe it, and there was a ton of people there.
Yeah, I was so happy.
Yeah, it was really pleasant this time.
Yeah, you know, compared to the opening match, the very first day when I had all my friends and family actually come to Fenrir Amber to, check out, I made this opening ceremony animation and it's going to be huge. And no one saw a thing. So it was just one frame rendered maybe of the stuff, and then it just froze. And they didn't see a game, didn't see the ceremony. It was so bad. Yeah,
you did a really
as a player
animation though on that ceremony. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, what was that?
Oh yeah, as a player, like I was on team set.
It was made in the last 24 hours before the start, so it was.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was a challenge.
So you were a player on Team Scent?
Yeah. So as a player, like that first round, like I think Bence was alluding to, it was unplayable at that time. But it was nuts to come back in the semifinals and have it be like William, you said. Like, I used the same expression. It was smooth as butter, and everything before. Like, I mean, the whole reason why we, I guess, progressed was because of luck and the fact that we had like a bomb squad of spectators that hopped on the team and like carried us to victory. And the second time when we lost, it was like it was user error. Like we sucked. Like the game was too good. It progressed too much. So our advantage was lost. And it was amazing to see that like week to week go from unplayable halfway around the world, at least for me, to something that was really playable, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. It reminded me of my first game because it was just, I think everyone on my first game for DCL Core were doing really good, but for me, I was just lagged down and I couldn't move at all. So I'm just cheering on, pretending like I'm playing, and we smashed the competition. So I was like, I was part of that.
Yeah,
but,
I was just combing the field, Matty. I was like going, like I was listening to Clark's like commands, and I was just combing the field, hitting the button like this.
Yeah. I was just, intimidating the competition, running around, showing that it's a 5 squad. But yeah, man, the improvements were massive, and that set of improvements is what actually gave me faith that we can kind of scale to a smooth experience for these sort of things with a lot of people in the world. But before that, it was like, I'm not a tech guy, so for me it's hard to. I only can see and feel what I experience. So for me, it's just like, what are we going to do once we hit 1,000 people? Is it going to be like this for the whole next year or something? And to see that sort of improvement for me, it gave me a lot of faith.
Yeah. Is that are those tech difficulties something that you foresaw, Bence? Like, did you expect people to experience some issues, or was that kind of unexpected for you at the start of the tournament?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. We were completely in the dark. So what I saw is that on my computer it worked like at maximum frames per second. So it was 60 frames per second, didn't drop a frame. So it was on full performance. And then when we uploaded it on the first day, and I saw this mess having like 2 frames per second rendering, that was that was tough to see. So I didn't expect that, and DCL team told me that it's because something has to do with many people being there, and you are peer-to-peer connected to everyone. So if more people show up inside Decentraland, that somehow slows down your computer resources as well. So that was tough, because I expected it to be like way more performant than the Infinity engine was. Some of you probably played the Infinity engine.
Yeah.
And that was performing lower even on my computer. So I was like, okay, Moonshot is 60 FPS. That's like way better than Infinity engine. Everyone will be able to play. And when I saw that it performs really badly, I didn't know what else to do. It was tough. So
the thing is, if there's lag and it's choppy, it's kind of equal for everyone. But I guess it's still like, it's the audience that you want to show what Decentraland can do, and obviously it's your product and your game, and you want to make sure like people come out with a good experience.
Yeah, true. And, you know, I had this plan that now I have this server that is cross-realm, so everyone can see the astronauts in every realm. I could actually make everyone see everyone else, so we could be all together in every realm, actually. And I'm not sure if it's possible now with these performance improvements, but I could just put an astronaut on everyone who joins the scene and basically have a huge concert with 1,000 people in the same field. So I would love to make that happen someday. I just hope Decentraland can handle it and the scene can handle it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So Bence, do you have to manually start every game, or are you going to set it up to where anyone can start as long as there's an even team on either side, or how do you plan on doing it?
Yeah, well, that was also, we were in the dark in the early days, so the reason I had to start it manually is actually because the time limit I had, so I didn't have time to implement those things to start it automatically.
Sure.
Actually, I made my whole administrator dashboard that you guys couldn't see, but I had a separate scene where I could send you messages and do a bunch of stuff, start the game, and ban people from the player list.
Sure.
Even that was done in like the last 2 days. It was crazy.
That actually made it a lot of fun though, because we were able to kind of like go back and forth and, you know, do things with that, you know, while I was commentating and things like that. So that was fun. You know, we had the Evil Empire up there at the end of the day. That was hilarious, man.
I hope I didn't make any enemies with that. So.
Nah, man, we were all having fun. I mean, I hope they know we're having fun. And anybody that deals with me, they know I'm going to be doing stuff like that all the time, man. So.
That's good to know. So yeah, thank you, Franky. I wanted to thank you. That was amazing feat, showing up to each game and
yeah, man. Thank you for time.
That helped a lot. So
yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Yeah, watching the game just muted, it was half the fun or even less. With the commentary, it was really awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
The commentary really added that kind of entertainment factor, that you have something to listen to while you watch, and it made you want to stay longer and watch the whole thing. And even when the matches weren't going on, it made you want to stay in the game or in that moment of the soccer tournament. Quite interesting. But on the comment on having the game to be able to be played without you having to control the events moving forward, you know, obviously you take a rest and when you can, and you have the time to code that in. I was speaking to Matt from Cent, and he was, you know, saying it could be a good thing to do after like the whip meetup that he does, or he's going to start doing in Decentraland. If we could just hop over to as an after party and after event, just go play some soccer, have some, you know, it's actually a really good way to, I don't know if it's a good way to mesh teams or make enemies with people, but it's like a good way to connect with people, right? So
yeah, it'd be cool, I think, if we had featured matches from time to time instead of like a whole tournament or a small tournament from time to time, as opposed to the Moonshot, which was like, that was the World Cup for real, like different, you know, groups and all that, and it was fun. But I'd like to do that once in a while, as opposed to we can do a lot more things a lot more often. So we can do like I was saying, like a featured match. Like, okay, after the whip, you know, we put together 2 teams that we decided on prior, and then you just, you know, battle it out, and that'd be like the after event. And then I believe that building things outside of that stadium, even if it's just popping up people's little builds in there, like let's say a block runner game or something like that, would be beneficial to everybody, you know. So you had the game going on, and outside of the stadium, in that area, because you know there's enough space there, there's enough land there, so you know you can just put other things there, you know, little kind of guest deployments, if you will, you know.
Yeah, so completely makes sense.
Yeah, like
I was gonna ask if you could, on your dashboard, just create some user accounts, and then maybe give DCLCore an account to where they can set up games at will. And all they have to do is just tell everybody to show up on Moonshot, and then one of us can be on the dashboard to just start the game and like send messages and all that. And that way kind of, you know, relieve you of, you know, having to be there all the time.
Yeah, that could be done, but I want the whole thing automated, and I actually started doing it, but the tournament was coming really quickly, so I had to improvise. But I have the system started, so.
Oh, okay, good.
And the whole plan was to have it, as a paid game. So I wanted to invite people to to start a multiplayer game on their own with their friends and pay some mana, and then they get a server and the game starts automatically. So the person who pays the mana will be the administrator. You get a dashboard. You can kick random people if you don't want them in the field, and just have your friends join in and start the game. So that was the original plan. But then came Toonpunk. And he was like, "Oh no, we're doing a World Cup."
very much like Toonpunk. Yeah, we'll get in your DM like, all right, check it out. We're gonna make this 10 times bigger than that. Like, okay.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to do something like Moonshot for a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. So much stress with that.
That's got to be a once in a while event, something big. And I think the next one would be huge. If we're doing little ones here and there, and the next time we do Moonshot would be huge, But we need time. We need some time in between.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, the matches started at midnight and 2 a.m. So like every day, midnight and 2 a.m. I had to start the matches. I was so exhausted by the end.
I could imagine.
Yeah. Man. And you would have been working all day on the game and everything, right?
Yeah.
That's what I haven't been able to find a way to get around the whole time zone thing. Like, I've been thinking, is there a way to somehow connect the 2 time zones at the same time? I know it's freaking fourth dimension thinking, but the only solution is literally just to wake up in the middle of the night when these events are taking place. So
I mean, these kinds of global events are really rare or non-existent. So if you play Call of Duty, no one is actually playing globally. You are playing with, if you're in Europe, you are playing with Europeans mostly. You are connected to European servers.
Yeah, this is almost like a new concept. And I think that maybe, like, let's say we have more people, you could be like, okay, we're going to do a certain time for, let's say, this part of the world. So this part of the world, is at 3 a.m. UTC that works for you guys. 10 p.m. UTC works for us. And, so on and so forth. So let's say you have more people, so then you can have, different time zones, play different times. And then, let's say there's a major event or whatever, and then, hey, you gotta, this one's a global, you gotta get up for that one,
Yeah. Well, we even had teams which had Mexican and Japanese and European players at the same time. So
but that's what really
no way to accommodate all of them.
Yeah, I think that to a certain extent, though, that's what makes our stuff fun, is that everybody kind of is from all these different parts of the world, and we all work together on these things, and to me that's what Decentraland is like. And I don't know so much, Matthew, you could probably tell me better about Crypto Voxels, but I know that to me the metaverses kind of had that appeal to me, from like just being able to work with people from all kinds of parts of the world, and there's nothing, we just going to work,
Yeah, I mean, being based in Seoul, I definitely feel like that, right? I definitely feel like I'm up all the time working and collaborating and attending events that the whole world's attending. But I think that we're starting to see growth, like all around the world, such that, like, for example, the WIP, it's usually held 12 p.m. Pacific every Thursday. I have a lot of folks in my neck of the woods that it's just like out of bounds for them, because 12 p.m. Pacific is like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. over here in Asia, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like we're definitely approaching a point where there's definitely more people around the world, such that you could have more potentially localized offerings, right? I've been talking with Matty about having like an Asia Pacific WIP, where like in Tokyo or Seoul time, like 12 p.m., we have folks who are working on projects or working in this part of the world that can come to the WIP and have their own unique WIP experience, right? To complement the original WIP that would still be going on and taking place at the original time. And that's an experiment that I think would be interesting to run, to see like what crowd would be generated, like how many people would be able to engage in this when it's in their localized time zone. And then like, I think the World Cup is a really interesting event because you can get the whole world together, and like you can structure the preliminaries to be regional time, but then you can set the time of the semifinals and finals to be like roughly what would work for people in most time zones to get that real local vibe or time zone effect rather. But I think these experiments are really exciting, and just the growth of the space is making it possible to have like really time zone specific events, and it'll be exciting to see what happens from there.
Yeah, I think that especially when you talk about like locally done things, when it comes to like entertainment shows, when we're having like concerts and things like that, that's where that's going to come into play to me a lot. You know, you're going to say, okay, if you have an artist that's, let's say, based in Asia and they're most of the fans are out there, you maybe have it geared toward that time zone. And now if you want to check it out, of course you're completely okay. It just might be 2 a.m. for you, and then an artist that may be appealing more to like the European, you know, and then that's where you have like a priority on a certain time zone, you know.
Yeah, totally. But it's the ease of access is what's most exciting, right? Because up until now, it's as a regular casual user of either games or just like any sort of cultural product, everything has been so regionalized, right? And you have these like isolated shells of culture, and it's hard to engage with them unless you like hop on a plane and fly over and like really like double down. Of course, the internet has made things a little bit more accessible. YouTube and things like that make it easier sort of to engage in like, cross-cultural consumption of these very unique cultural experiences. But now it's like you click a URL and you can hop into the World Cup, or you can hop into like the gamer chat and listen to Franky's commentary, or you can fly into the whip being based wherever you are in the world and listen to these projects, give their updates, talk with folks who are like down the crypto rabbit hole with you, who are based like who knows where, right? Yeah. It's an amazing experience, and the cross-pollination of ideas, even within like our small crypto niche, like we have DeFi, NFT, like people who focus more on NFTs, or just regular, more generic crypto projects. Like when they all get in the same room, it's something special that starts to happen. And then when you layer in games like what we saw at Moonshot, you kind of like you get people to have fun in that regard, and it's something so special, I think. And especially right now in the time of COVID, I think people are even more sensitive to like how unique this is, and the more people we can expose to it now, like when things go back to normal, we'll be able to have a hold on them and continue growing our space out more, and especially these experiences in VR worlds like DCL and CV and versioning some space in the sandbox down the line, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's like we've grown like this little kind of community within the Gamers Hub, and we all kind of like chat back and forth in there, and it'd be a lot of the same people, and a lot of the same people go to the whale community things, and it starts to be like, you know, just I don't know, you start to know these people, you know, and you know their tendencies and personalities and stuff, and you know, even though people are still getting back to more regular life, at the same time they're still checking in, you know, so it's pretty cool.
So there was a lot of drama during the soccer tournament. So how did you, Bence, how did you go about like trying to like balance like the lag that people are experiencing and who would actually come out as a winner? Like how did you go about, you know, figuring that out?
Yeah, touchy subject.
Yeah, first tell us how you rigged it for Decentral Games, and then get into Will's answer.
Not even Decentral Games. How does Decentraland win that tournament? That is like...
Just invited 24 teams around the whole NFT space just to kick their ass, just to show them that, you know.
Got sponsors, sponsor their own winnings, and then just took it all.
Oh man, too funny.
Oh man.
So the games were not rigged at all, but we did have the only server that handled the whole tournament in the UK. So any team that had players in the UK or more players near UK would have an advantage in terms of lag. But still, the Central games were able to score goals against the Decentraland, so it was there. It was not like 10-0, so it could have been anything. But still, there was a slight advantage if you are closer to the UK. So I have plans to handle this. So ideally, this should work like if I have two teams globally somewhere, then I should spawn a server in between them. So it's like they have equal latency to the server, equal lag. So globally, they should be like equal distance from the server, but then I have to dynamically set up servers, and that's quite a challenge. It's, guys, this is my second game. My first game was Infinity Engine, and Moonshot is my second game that I ever developed. So,
yeah.
Really? What do you mean for Decentraland? You've done games before, right?
No. So I started my game development career in Decentraland.
No way!
Last September.
That's awesome, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, for real. Like,
jeez. That's gonna be awesome.
So how did you, when you were creating your first game in Decentraland, like what was the SDK like for you? Were you peppering Nico with a lot of questions and stuff, or did you jump in and kind of know what to do off the bat?
Oh no, I didn't know anyone or what,
really?
what to ask or what's happening. So I was like, okay, here's this contest. I really want to do it. I want to try the SDK, and I did that robotic spider. I don't know if any one of you saw the robotic spider.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's gonna blow people's minds. That I'm going to do some animation from code, and it's going to be so dynamic. And Decentraland, everyone was really, every scene was really static, so nothing was really moving. So I thought that if I make the most dynamic thing possible, then it probably will gain some traction, and it did. And I fell in love with the SDK, and it was actually quite easy. So actually, the language it uses, for me, that's an easy one. So the scripting languages, as a programmer, that's on the easier side. So it's easiest to start if you program before others start.
And it's not bad if you haven't, because I've been able to like learn little bits as I go, and the more I go along now, I'm starting to pick things up faster, because once I started learning it, it's like, okay, now this makes sense because I know that, So
yeah, I heard you mention this before, so I completely agree. First, you can just copy paste in parts that people share in Discord. You copy paste it in, and boom, you have, I don't know, videos.
And then you kind of get the logic, and then you're like, all right, now wait a minute, this is because of this.
And then you look into it, and here's where I modify it, and I can change the color, and okay, starting to get it. So
I thought the whole approach of, because I was assuming going into the World Cup that we would play as our avatars, and like we would have our jerseys on. But I thought there was a really unique approach to have like totally different, like the astronauts that you would click into and kind of go into the game physics or whatever. So that kind of got me thinking, like heading forward, like what is actually possible in terms of game development within DCL? If you have this option to kind of go into this other body that I guess could play in like totally different type of physics, like could people expect like swimming games, or like what is the realm of possibility of game development in DCL?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was actually a workaround at first, because the peer-to-peer communication between players was really slow. So you are not actually seeing the player where it is right now. You are seeing where it was like 3 seconds ago. So it was unplayable when you would try to play peer-to-peer, and you would pass the ball to someone and he was not there. So how should I work around this? But since you had the server, that's much faster, which I used, and you could share the positions of the astronaut suits. and they were actually much closer to the real position, so you could see your teammates where they actually are without having to wait 3 seconds for them to get there to the position. But then I realized that I could actually put anything on these positions, so it could be a custom avatar. So you enter my scene, you could even choose some random avatar. You could be the manager or the royal king, or I don't know. I didn't want to hijack the whole Decentraland effort to have the avatars and wearables, but you could actually make it unique on your scene. So you could sell wearables that only work on your scene, but it works and everyone is different, and they could buy actually the wearables that you make. But that's something to explore in the future.
So the workaround was so that a player in any server would show up in every server, right?
Yeah. So basically, the SDK shares your position to the server. So every player shares their positions to the server, and the server just broadcasting it to every other scene.
Mm-hmm. And then to cut down on the speed, you use WebSockets so that it was instantaneous information.
Yeah. So basically, it's a faster connection than the default peer-to-peer decentralized way. So.
Right. What was
I think it has to do more with having a centralized server instead of, both are using WebSockets or WebRTC, but the thing is, when you have a peer-to-peer network, it would probably be a lot more slower than if you have a centralized server when you send your position and it gets broadcast to everybody else. I think the technology is the same, just the network architecture that's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is important information. I know Decentraland is working on a write-up to help all creators create, similar experiences with WebSockets and all that. And so this is going to be a huge tool for the creator community to build like these types of experiences, because I think the Moonshot game really opened or encouraged us to like think through of different experiences that you can have multiplayer style. And it's not very complicated to set one up either. And so we're even going to start working on our own WebSocket experience that's multiplayer. And so I think it's very important to have like a write-up that Decentraland is doing to help others like create this stuff. Because I think multiplayer is going to be huge. And so far everything has been like a singular experience in Decentraland, and this would change everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. So when I made Infinity Engine, I quickly realized that this is too single player. It's not going to work. All the fun comes from meeting others, playing with others, doing stuff, chatting.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to move in this direction, have something multiplayer, because otherwise it's just going to be loners wandering around a huge empty world. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I tell you what, when we lost that tournament, I was not angry, but I was more about like I wanted to keep playing. So I would just switch to an unknown account, an undefined, and I would jump in and play for other teams because I wanted to keep on playing.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, we had to fill up a bunch of teams, so actually thanks for that, because otherwise it just would have stayed there 5 versus 4 and wouldn't start. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, community help with teams who didn't show up, or just one person showed up from a team. That's fine.
Yeah, that was something definitely I was afraid of, like 1 versus 5 or something. But
yeah. No, I think that kind of helped out though, that the community could jump in, because I'm sure there was a lot of people that didn't get a chance to get added to a team that wanted to play. So it kind of worked out to the benefit of the Decentraland community, that some of them were able to hop in. And I think, was it Super Rare or So Rare? One of those teams that was just like purely community members of DCL, like made it
teams.
Out of the, what was that? Almost every team.
Teams, yeah.
Yeah, like made it out of the qualifying round. Yeah,
there's a lot of banter going on, Anorak, in the gamers hub. So we're like, jump in, go ahead, Crypto Joe, you're in. You know, and like we're like just saying everything. Like we're just, it was funny as hell.
It was almost as intense as the jersey launching.
Nothing was as intense as the jersey launch.
I have like a bit of remorse because I'm finding out that you were putting up those jerseys at like 1 o'clock in the morning your time. So I can only imagine how crazy those nights or early mornings were for you with those jersey machines. But
yeah, we're like not even starting the game on time at all. Like at some point, I remember one day, Bence, we were like, it was 20 minutes at least late. And we're like, we're not starting the game until everybody gets done with the jerseys but it was fun, and it really drove a lot of people's excitement about the whole situation. So to me, that's why we do it, you know, and it was perfect. It just really worked out really well because it got a lot of people excited about it. You know, there was some new people that got to see what Decentraland's all about, and not that it's all about the jerseys. It just was all about the community excitement around an event. And the event was sick, you know. Even though we had some laggy days, all the people stayed. Like it wasn't like, oh, this is laggy and a bunch of people left. It was like, you know, people stuck around, hung out. We were hanging out, we were talking. You know how it was, Bence. You were there. Like, we're all just hanging out, doing, you know, whatever, saying funny memes in the stream text channel. You know, everything just got like it was a lot of fun. It just legitimately was fun. You know. It
was. I still don't understand how people managed to stay after the first day, but it somehow happened that we pushed through the whole tournament. Yeah, I'm just happy now. It all worked out.
Yeah. I think William kind of hit it on the head when he was talking about how like he played a game and then he just wanted to keep playing. I feel like a lot of folks probably had that experience, again, because it's one of the first examples of this like virtual reality based game, right? Where we don't have that many examples of this. And when people get a taste of it, even if it's like a little bit janky at first, like it is fun. That social element is powerful. Mm-hmm. And like all these experiments that we're running in the metaverse, whether it be games or like digital product drops or what have you, like we're testing like the demand for these features in these worlds. And I mean, games is one of those that is at the top of that list that people want more of it. And like we've been thinking about it at the Whip since we have in CryptoVoxels, we have these really rudimentary, I call them like NES, like 8-bit Super Mario type games, like where you have these floating floors and people can jump from one floor to the next without flying, trying to get to some certain endpoint, like super basic. But when we have those sorts of games incorporated into the Whip as like a post-show game for the community, it's crazy to see how excited people get for just those sorts of basic things. And then DCL, you guys are just taking it to like a totally another level. But that demand is there. So we're thinking like, man, is it time for a metaverse Olympics or something like that? Where we combine like CV, DCL, who knows what's possible in the Somnium space, but there should be something like, and do we structure games like on that level? I know you guys have like fatigue already for the Moonshot. I don't want to like kill you, but I just want to throw it out there because I think like the demand is there.
Yeah, for sure. At some point, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, moving some sort of having some tournament that goes cross worlds. I was thinking of doing some sort of fashion show that goes cross worlds.
I can see that.
So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but yeah. Plenty of room for that.
Could definitely see that. I just started. I made a couple CV wearables, and so I feel like that could easily be a thing if you got somebody that's that knows what they're doing, because you can definitely make them on kind of like both ways.
Did you design your boot, by the way?
The boot was. I bought that boot like that was like one of the first wearables in CV history. I was like so old. And I had it for a long time, and then I was trying to design it. It was a hilarious thing. I was trying to get myself together to have this interview with Andrew Steinwald. I was like, I better get my boots right. And then, like, it made this boot that just kicked me in the back of the head, and I thought it was just the most hilarious thing. And then, Andrew was like, you can never change that. And so that's pretty much been the staple. But then I made the championship belts because I saw Anorak with that ice on his neck. Yes. And I was like, nah, man, you're not about to outshine me, dog. So I made me some championship belts.
Yeah, you turned that around pretty quick.
Oh, man, it was funny. But yeah,
I like how you had the belt positioned on your avatar too. You had
the one across the chest and then the one I'm wearing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the CV wearables are awesome. How you can like make them bigger or smaller to kind of like fit your avatar. I really like that about those wearables.
Yeah, they're a little finicky to get on there, but once you get it all going, it looks good, man. It's actually a lot of fun. Like Matty was asking about, those have what do you call it? Those have animation, and they just kind of move with your guy, you know, like so it's pretty cool. And ours are a little bit different, and I like what we do too, you know, and that's the beauty of, I think, you know, it's like Jetsons meet the Flintstones or something, but not necessarily, you know, just like one is new, one is old, but like there's just like a difference between the two worlds, and I love the intermingling now. Like now, I'm gonna be talking to Easy and Crypto sometime soon. It's just like, I don't know, it's cool to just kind of like intermingle, and I've been hanging out in CV lately since I made those wearables, and trying to understand crypto art a lot better, you know? It's like these two different worlds, and you see when you're kind of integrating it in the building too, you know? So it's cool.
So going back to these Olympics or something similar, I feel like we need to bring multiplayer experiences to the metaverse. Yeah. I mean, a few months ago, everything was static.
Yeah.
Now,
Nico, oh my goodness! When I first heard about this event, I was like, no way can we pull off a multiplayer game, and I was so not think. I didn't think it was gonna work. I was like, you know, if it works, it works. Man, I was blown away. And then now I'm like, we have to have more of that. And you know, I'm excited to see what Will comes through with. I watched your podcast the other day, Will. And you know, if you haven't, go take a look, because they go kind of in depth about multiplayer and what it takes to make that happen. And it's man, I think that we can do a lot with that. Now, I don't know so much, but a lot of the other guys definitely could make that happen. You know, with the API calls and the ports. You got the WebSockets. Yeah, that stuff is really interesting, and I hope to learn more about that as we do this this workshop podcast thing that me and Red Nitrous are gonna do.
But actually, go ahead with.
No, I was just gonna say it's the WebSocket thing is actually really important, because we're going to implement that in all our games. So the Block Runner, Block Hole, Pack Runner, all those games are gonna be synced. And it's going to be multiplayer. So now, like, for example, in Block Hole, everyone has to be standing on the correct color at the exact same time. So I think it'd be pretty funny seeing all those avatars like run around and try to get to the same location all at once.
Yeah, and then people falling through. It might,
people falling through. Yeah,
it might get real funny.
And so our next game is going to be a little bit bigger. It's more like a MMORPG. So it's going to be like a co-op zombie shooter, but then it's also going to be PvP, and progression, levels, all that stuff is going to be implemented.
I'm pretty excited to see what you guys do. After that podcast, I was like pretty pumped about that. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. Again, you know, it's like, you bring this stuff to another level, you know, something I honestly didn't think was going to be possible. And then now you're looking at it like, wow, that's crazy. We can do all that, you know?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Very impressive. I'm gonna lie.
I have like a vision where experiences in Decentraland in particular are multiplayer by default. Like when you push a button and a door opens, it gets synchronized across, for everybody. Yeah. Because right now, like, you have to send a message to everybody on the scene saying, hey, I pushed this button, so the other... you have to manually code in your scene for something to happen. Yeah. I just feel like 90% of experiences could be fixed, could be multiplayer really easily. And another part is like, for example, Moonshot. If Bence, for some reasons, decides not to collaborate with the Decentraland anymore. Hopefully it won't happen. but right now his server, we need his server for everything to work.
Yeah.
So if we can move servers to the Catalyst servers that the community run. I mean, if everything is automated, I mean, if the infrastructure and the code, if everything is as easier as possible, I think experiences will be much better, much more fun to play with. I mean, I think it's
true. You know what, Nico, you're talking. It makes a lot of sense because think about it. If you put the Moonshot gameplay, the code in the Catalyst server, then any Catalyst server that you're connected to, you're going to have the best experience that you could possibly have, rather than connecting to some AWS random server somewhere located in some random location. But so if we could have some way to implement this custom code into the Catalyst servers, that would make things a lot easier, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I know that whatever solution we can come up with won't work for all the cases. Maybe if you need like real time, it will be really hard, and in those cases maybe you need to, for now, create your own server.
Yeah.
But I think that this needs to happen. I mean, I don't know how long it takes. The effort behind it needs to happen. I mean, experiences need to be multiplayer by default. I mean, if you want your own game to be single player because you want to, that's okay. But the amount of effort it takes right now for you to make a multiplayer game, it's too much. I mean, a lot of people don't know how to code, and even those who do, don't know how to set up their own server. I mean, I know that's where we are right now, and it's really, I mean, you can do a lot what we have right now. But I honestly feel like we need to take it further.
Yeah, because there's certain tiers of like developers. There's like web developers, and then there are like server developers or backend developers. And for something like Moonshot or the zombie game they're creating, you gotta almost have to be a backend developer to make it work. And so that's not really like the best way to like create the metaverse. Is you have to have like all this expertise to make these cool games. So making it easier, I mean, obviously that's the best bet. Like for example, if you take like in a zombie game, you have like a raid experience where you need like 10 players to take down this huge monster. You could only do that with a custom server. But if there was some way to implement it at the Catalyst level, then you are decentralizing the game a little bit, right? But you're also creating the best experience because the avatars are already connected to the Catalyst server. So that's what you want to create, right? But it still takes it'll take some development time from the team to figure out what's the best way to implement something like that. Because then you have to like create the code, and then once you get that code ready, you got to test it, and then you got to have people like get on and test the code, and then you have the creator community making custom stuff, and so it could get a little hairy, but it's like you're saying, it's sort of necessary.
It seems like the natural next step, no?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a really big step from where we are right now. I just feel we need to go towards that place. I mean, it's like the next big thing, and everybody should be able to build their own multiplayer experience without too much struggle.
Yeah, and I know the Popes, they bring in their own like kind of people. They're really interested in collecting these Popes.
Speaking of that, we gotta get these roundtable Popes up, man. We've been talking about it, and we just haven't done it. And like every event has a Pope except for the roundtable. You know?
Do you think that's like something that's sustainable in your eyes, Nico, on like always having a Pope there for every single event? Or do you think eventually we'll get to a point where you don't necessarily need a Pope to bring in like players and people to like experience something?
I think that, I think that like Popes have their own different target. I mean, people connected to, I saw a lot of people who went into Moonshot, got the jerseys, and then disconnected. And those people were only there for the jerseys. I mean, and you also have people that maybe didn't care about the jerseys, didn't want to pay the gas fee, and just wanted to watch the game. I think that you have, I mean, people for everything. People like different things. Hopefully, when experiences get much better, or we have more experiences, people will come for them. I mean, just for the experience. If you get an NFT for that, then great. But I think the driving force behind any metaverse will be the content and the experiences themselves. And just, I don't know, maybe that's the way I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think the content is going to bring the people, but I think you're right too. Like, there's going to be a specific audience for collecting NFTs and doing all that stuff. So
definitely
makes sense.
With the Pope, I think what's going to take them to the level where they're more collectible is kind of like having a badge. Maybe like if you collect one of those popes, you can click a tab when you explore someone and you can see the popes that they've collected. And maybe there's like a badge type system that you can see, oh, you know, this guy was at all of these events, and that's displayed by the pope. Maybe, because right now, if you collect something, the only way you know that that guy has it is if you check their Ether scan or their OpenSea, or if they show it off on their Twitter or something. But imagine in game if they have badges and we know exactly where they've been. Oh, you know, they were at the launch event. That's pretty cool.
You can wear your Pope.
The experience of the whip, we've been going since January, and at the outset, I had commissioned some like whip specific art from folks like, I don't know if anyone's heard of ClayCal303 or Spherical Art or Fabiano Speziati, but we used the unique tokens that we created for folks who they had to come to the event in order to get those unique works of art or wearables. It was like a really cool initial early growth driver to get new folks coming to the events. But I mean, as the gas costs started to skyrocket and minting these tokens or wearables became like prohibitively expensive, we phased it out. But after phasing it out, we continued to see increased engagement and new users, because to Nico's point, like, it's all about the experiences that you're able to create. That should be the leading driver. But it's really cool to think, well, we have this huge base of users who've collected all of these tokens and wearables, and they have this link that like identifies them as a unique participant in these past events. There's a lot of design that you can do to incorporate those tokens into, like, for example, if you want to create a subscription service in the future, you can use them as a discount that people can maybe burn to create even more scarcity of the tokens that they had originally collected in a particular event or something like that. There's a lot of like different ways that you can play around with them outside of even just like having a better way to display the badges. But I feel that they're sort of like a nice carrot or initial lure to drive engagement. But over time, you definitely got to focus on the experience and the other things to keep people coming back.
Yeah,
it's definitely interesting.
I think a lot of it is up to like event hosts to come up with a way to utilize the popes more than just bringing people in to collect them. What was that?
No, that was a good idea. I totally agree.
Yeah, because I mean, even like looking at like what coin artist is doing right now with like Niftex and stuff. Like, there's a way that you could do something similar with the Pope, where if people are collecting this stuff, like Matthew, you said that you've been doing this since January. I mean, if people have those things collected since January, and then you come out and say, all right, everyone that has 10 or more of these popes, you know, you're going to get access to a VIP thing or whatever. I mean, that's how you're going to make these things more valuable. If you just set up a station and it's just there and, hey, come get them, and then after that, nothing. I mean, why are people going to do it? But we saw with Decentraland, I mean, when they did the art week, and they auctioned off the land, like that, they were a trading commodity. Like, everyone was after them.
Exactly.
So it's a good way to initiate the engagement, but then you got to do something with them.
Right.
Totally agree.
100% right.
Yeah, I think the Popes being badges would be a game changer, guys. Imagine going to an event and then everyone's got these Popes for that event that they're wearing on their shirt, and then you're going to feel like you want one, so you're going to go get one. Or imagine if you can go around. It's kind of like a wearable, basically, like this little area on your shirt that you can change the badge.
Yeah, maybe like on the sleeve, like right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's weird. What if you have like a female character has a tank top, and then what do you put it, like a tattoo? You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe you have to place it.
Yeah. If you think about it, the only wearable that signifies that you were at the Decentraland launch event, which is probably the most momentum event in Decentraland, is the launch T-shirt. But if there was a Pope that represented that itself would be a pretty cool thing to own and display, because it shows that you were like one of the first or one of the very early day one people. So,
you're saying a Pope that represented the launch day?
Yeah. Imagine if there was a Pope that represented the launch day.
Yeah, I guess
Decentraland T-shirts. It would have been.
But that's what I think our version of that at the time was a wearable. So most people got that T-shirt. If you sold it, that's your business, And also, just like the first 4,000 names, they got the MCA shirts, and if you sold it, that's your business, So it's kind of like that,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That shirt was so popular. It went from 10 mana to like 300, 400 mana now, just because that item represents that you were there at that event.
You were there,
that could easily be the importance of that could easily be transferred to these Popes that represent you being at certain events and certain experiences.
Well, actually, I think I would like it to be like more than Popes. I mean, I love the idea of the badges system, but not just for attending. I mean, for example, a badge because you won the Moonshot or a badge because you were the monthly winner in the Blogger Honor, something like that. Like, I mean, it would be great to have badges for attending events, but also like badges because you were the one who won something or did something that almost nobody else can do. I think that would be awesome.
So how would you implement this? Would you just have like a spot on your avatar where that's interchangeable with any one of these badges? And that doesn't have to be limited, it can be unlimited to whatever you want to display there, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think that,
maybe there needs to be some items like a medal or maybe a watch area or something that can be interchangeable because of these rewards. Yeah, I don't know.
You could also get crazy with it, kind of like how Bence did his astronaut characters. Like maybe there's a specific location within Decentraland that you walk into, and like this giant cape unfolds on the avatar where all the Popes are on, and it's like a physics-based cape, and you're like jumping around, and you can see everything that you've attended on this like giant cape, and just something you couldn't do like in real life, You know what I'm talking about, Franky, right?
I'm sorry.
Get away from that real life stuff.
Oh yeah, always. Always. I know I keep it kind of real life in here, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I know what you're saying, and I've been kind of thinking about that, like since me and Red are gonna be starting this thing, I'm like, we should probably build, if we're gonna build this kind of like Decentraland thing, we might want to lean that way of making it less real life, But we'll see what we all want to do. This is gonna be like an open-ended. It's like an open-ended question, like, what do you want to build?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I definitely support doing less real life things. I feel like that's the attractive part about being in these worlds where like real life constraints don't apply. But taking an example from CV with what people have been doing with like rewards or trophies and stuff. Yeah. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with No Shot. In CV at least, he has that the Nowhere brand. He had the drop of shoes almost 2 months ago. But he's also been spearheading something that he calls No Quests, which are sort of like super intense riddle-based quests, right? Where folks go on a multi-quest journey, and it's super complicated. There's a lot of time that the players invest, but at the end of it, for the folks who finish it and complete all the riddles, there's these crazy voxel model trophies that he made that also have corresponding NFTs that look sick. And there's nothing like what Matty's describing where you can like attach the tattoo version of them to your avatar to signify that you won these games. But the folks who did win them, like in their CV builds, like they almost have like a trophy room where they're displaying the NFT badges and the voxel models, kind of showing that they completed the beast of a quest that No Shot had created and stuff like that. So that's one thing, but I definitely like being able to carry those experiences and
I actually have
accomplishments around on your person.
I actually have a question. Excuse me, Matt. I don't mean to cut you off, but for Nico, along them same lines, like so now you have GLB. I feel, Matthew, you would help me out with this. Who just created that the GLB like the 3D model NFTs? Is it Super Rare that did that?
No, CV.
No. So they made it. One of the platforms made it so you can do 3D model NFTs.
Oh, Sandbox.
No. I'm talking about like one of the crypto art platforms like Super Rare or Maker's Place, or one of them made it so you can do 3D models, and Hackatow made that diamond. So it's Super Rare. A thought process of mine, Nico, is if we can integrate those kind of NFTs and be able to bring them into Decentraland so you could use them in your builds. It's almost like call upon them, just like I called upon these things on the wall, but use 3D models.
Yeah. I think that's even on the roadmap. I mean, right now, you know, right? I mean, you have like 2D NFTs. We have the Art Week, and you could see all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that 3D NFTs are. I mean, that's like the best part, right? I mean, you're in the metaverse. It's a 3D world.
Yeah.
And we are like only using 2D NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So you know, like what Matthew's talking about, you have like a trophy for, let's say, Will's got a bunch of accomplishments for a bunch of MetaZone things, and then you build a trophy or something better than a trophy, Will, like not real life, right? Something like that's way better that does stuff, and then you make that your NFT model that goes into, like, let's say Super Rare or a company like Mint Base or something like that, and then you give it out to that person for free, but they might want to be able to sell it, or they might want to put it on their build and be able to do that, to just call upon it from the SDK. It'd be pretty cool.
No, yeah, completely agree. I think that's one of the priorities for
that's cool.
few months.
Actually, this is what happening right now with the Moonshot Cup. It's a 3D NFT from BullionX, but there is no way to display it on your land.
You're using the GLB itself, right? And it has to be called upon, like, as and you can do that, but if you can call upon the NFT, like just like I do these things on the walls, I'm not sure if that's an API call or what, but it's just
we're doing that with Ethermon too. You can only deploy a Cobras or Chiari if you have the NFT in your wallet.
That's right.
So as far as like the art platforms go for the NFTs, they really depend on IPFS. So I'm not sure how a 3D object, which obviously has, there's more storage required for a 3D object.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be sustainable on IPFS though. I'd have to take a look, just because the file is bigger, right? You're calling a bigger file. So that would be.
The 3D models aren't huge files. Like they're really not large files, like you might think.
Right.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Franky's right. So it depends on how many and how big textures you use.
Yeah.
If it's just a 3D model,
so maybe it would be limited to a certain amount of textures and triangles. What you can call from my NFT, but then you would be able to have like Decentraland NFTs that are now, because I've been always leaning toward this idea of 3D digital art, crypto collectible type thing, and if you saw what Hackatow did for the Super Rare $1 million thing, it's like a diamond that has Hackatow's style of like art wrapped around the diamond, and you know it's not that many triangles. It wouldn't be that crazy to put that piece into Decentraland. But again, it would be cool if you could just call it from the SDK, you know.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the same problem as community wearables. I mean, you have a 3D object that you need to store somewhere, and everybody has to know where to look for it.
Yep.
So with wearables, we're going to store them on the content server. Maybe NFTs can do the same, and I don't know. We still need. We will have to explore that.
Yeah.
But the problem is more or less the same. I mean,
I can see.
You just need to know where to look for the 3D object.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty exciting thing to be able to have. It would be a bunch of use cases for that, you know, in my opinion, and you'd be able to open it up to a lot of artists. You know, a lot of artists would be able to do things now in Decentraland that they can't just do with just a simple canvas or even a 3D model that's just being displayed from a canvas. Now this is being displayed 3D in the world. You can walk around it, jump on it, you know, whatever it may be.
Hey Matt, remind me in CV, those wearables, are they NFTs?
Yeah. They got there's like a minting process that you send it through to I don't know, Matt, you would be able to tell me better if Ben actually like approves every single one of those or how that works. But you send it through.
So what happens is actually Trizlet has the smart contract set up, but everything goes back to servers that are controlled directly by Ben. So when someone like creates their own wearable and they try to mint it, it goes into a queue that then needs to be individually verified. And then the contract owner who performs that verification is this dude Trizlet, who does that on a case-by-case basis.
So how does the community, does the community expect everything to be decentralized, or like the Decentraland community expects everything to be decentralized?
I think because of the nature of the project of CV, which started off as that one-man show, I think that there is sort of like a baked-in expectation that Ben could kind of like step in and change things. But when it comes to like the ownership of these wearables, and like they don't want anything to be rolled back or taken out of their control or anything like that. So it's kind of like a mix, right? So there's this broader like Ben can do things, but then the community is kind of like checking all of that and making sure that things don't go too far. Yeah, the Discord is that kind of really important.
Checks and balances.
Vehicle for that. Exactly.
So Toon told me that the Hackathon Diamond is actually in Decentraland. It's at the Super Rare building, so I have to go check that out. I was just telling him I have it with everything with Moonshot and all that. I really didn't have enough time to like go to some of the events that I normally would just go to, you know. But I'm gonna have to check that out and see what it looks like, you know.
So I think we've been on for about an hour and 15 or so. I think let's go for maybe another 15 minutes if you guys still have some time.
Sure.
And then we can end it there. So I think one of the things that Nico's like requesting everybody is to give feedback on the SDK. And I know we haven't done our part, and I think partly because not too many people use the forum quite yet. So I think we just got to do a better job as to like any feedback that we want to give to Decentraland has to be through the forum. So we'll get to it. We have our own like requests, and we have our own like thoughts on the SDK. So we'll definitely update the forum as well. But just for all the citizens listening right now, if you have thoughts on the SDK, go to the forum, and that's where the ears will listen. Other than that, it's gonna fall on deaf ears. So just an announcement for that. Any other things that we have going on in Decentraland? I think in 5 days, the wearables fashion show is going to be happening, right?
Is that 5 days?
Yeah, 5 days.
That's crazy.
23rd.
So that means that they're going to be showing community design wearables in this show, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that because I'm gonna
24th.
Probably get my my digital wearables in there.
I think a tweet just went out.
What was this?
I think a tweet just went out.
Yeah, Tupac just posted
Okay.
in Discord too, I saw.
Yeah.
Nice. So, yeah,
We have quite a few events to look forward to, actually. We have the Ethereum Ethermon. The Ethermon a drop thing, the garden event. Right, Will? That's
Yes,
tomorrow.
so the Ethermon is tomorrow. So I guess the task is you have to go to all the deployed garden locations, and there's a 50% chance that you'll find a free pineapple. And to enter to win one of the new Ethermon, you just have to feed it to either your own Ethermon or the landowner's Ethermon. And so yeah, and there's going to be 5 brand new, never before seen Ethermon up for grabs.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, it starts tomorrow. It lasts for 7 days, and just collect pineapples and feed Ethermon, and that's all you have to do to be entered.
And
Nice. We have the business conference on the 23rd, DCL Core one. So that's going to be talking NIFTEX and like the economy of kind of how the NFT investing mindset's changing from just NFTs to being fractions and what it might look like in the future. And we also have a shout out to Nick Clark Kent. His grandpa's doing some exhibition, I believe, on Jose Delbo. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing
he got some
that
press for that
wrong.
too. There was like
it.
it was like a release of they were talking about that happening, and then another artist putting out a high quality 4K video as well in the same breath, like a old Wonder Woman artist as well. So that's pretty good. That's really good, actually.
yeah, shout out to Clark for getting his 87-year-old grandpa
For
on
real,
Twitter.
man.
And
For real. That was like, he was spearheading that for a long time. Like, he's like, I remember talking to him a couple months ago being like, I'm trying to get my grandfather into this. And, you know, and then to see it come to fruition is just so cool, man. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get a chance to talk to him a little bit later. It's going to be cool.
They got a dedicated article on Bitcoin.com about that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that article. I couldn't remember where it was from, but it's on Bitcoin.com. Yeah, it's a great article. Get a chance to go read it. It's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Matt, do you got anything going on this week?
Yeah. So actually, talking about Clark Kent and his grandpa, Jose Delbo, who's having that drop on Maker's Place. Maker's Place is sponsoring the Whip this week, and it's going to feed right into that drop of Jose Delbo, who has like a Wonder Woman piece, a Superman piece, and then another unique limited edition set inspired from some of his old comic book days, which like I've seen some previews that look pretty dope. So I'm really excited to get the crowd out for that and hyped for that drop event. And then the following week, Thursday, 30th, I've been talking with Matty about this, trying to get a DCL whip spun up. I guess my thought initially is to try to target that Asian time zone, to try to get a bunch of the projects who haven't been able to hop into the Pacific time based whip, so that they can get that experience, and we can kind of get a finger on the pulse of the number of people in the community in this part of the world to get something going on. So details are still TBD. We're still sourcing speakers, trying to get like a nice live audio element for the pre-show, and then thinking about what to do for the post-show event. So all those details are still up in the air, but if anyone wants to collaborate, super open to that as I build out the speaker list and stuff in the days ahead.
That's awesome.
Matt, how was your experience with building in Decentraland? I'm not sure if you were any part of that. Did you find it difficult to?
So I wasn't building it, but we sourced. We didn't source. Like we have them basically on retainer at this point. The team at Voxel Architects, who have done a bunch of our builds in CV, Leandro, and so they had a hell of a time getting used to the triangles and stuff like that. It was their first time building in DCL, and it was definitely a learning curve for them. But for anyone, I know Franky was there, and I think Anorak attended the post with DCL field trip.
Yeah.
I guess almost
That was
2
awesome
weeks
too,
ago
man.
now. Yeah, Like that was dope. The building, I guess it was 90% finished at that point.
Yeah.
It was great, right? I mean, I think the
absolutely.
outcome, the final product was pretty
It looks
So-
awesome. It's a real building, Will. So you're not really going to be into that one, but it looks the part. Matthew, what was it made after? You remember?
The Ray Bradbury building.
The Bradbury building. There you go. Super cool. It looks like very industrial, and it's gonna be a great place for whips. Straight up.
So the concept of the whip, Matt, I've been to one, I think, or two, is just to kind of get like a check up on what people are working on, and
Basically a round table, but called a whip.
It's a little more structured.
but it's more
though.
shorter. I think it's more like little talks on what people are working on, and then we move on to the next person.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's probably more equivalent to like a stand-up meeting, if anyone's familiar with that, like a small little team sharing like 2 to 3 minute updates about what they're working on. So we try to get 4 projects from crypto, like diverse projects. So maybe like this week we have Taylor Monahan from My Crypto coming on. Then we have DeFi projects like Joel from Niftex will be there. Then we get artists and like NFT projects. So we get this kind of like nice diversity of projects that get these short, sweet updates. Then we have the community there that we like to funnel into this general segment of the post-whip show. So like we do drops, we do field trips to other metaverse projects, or like we go into longer like roundtable discussions or whatever. Like it's a very generalizable format, and yeah, it's just a nice community event and a pretty weird show to highlight all the wearables and stuff that people have going on, at least in the CB context. And it seems like that'll happen in DCL.
I wonder how. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, I was done.
No. I was gonna say, I wonder how that would look like in Decentraland, in the sense that there's no voice chat, right? So you'd have to, if there's 10 people that want to come share their updates, do we get them all on a Zoom call? Or Nico, is there going to be voice chat with Decentraland anytime in the future, or what?
I know it's a really big feature people want. I don't know exactly when that is on the roadmap. I don't know exactly how they did it on crypto voxels. But
it's like you press a button to chat, and then you let go, and then you.
Yeah, but is it a third-party service, or is it designed from the ground up? I mean, we need to see what details are.
So audio and CV, like it was that press V to chat, and that was really janky for the longest time. And then now they have what they call, I think, the boombox audio element, where like you lay it in your parcel, and then someone clicks it, and it can broadcast up to like 500 people or whatever. But since audio is always that big bugaboo, I think, in these events, the workaround that the Whip crew developed was just setting up a Discord audio channel, and then having one person in world acting as the in-world microphone, essentially, hooking up the Discord audio feed using a virtual cable to the in-world audio element and piping that in. So you would have all the presenters in the Discord audio chat, and when it's their turn to talk, they just start speaking, right? And the whole audience can go into that Discord chat, so that like for the post-whip show or post-whip portion, they can just start talking and chatting within the audio channel, but they can still be in-world walking around. So that's their kind of like hacked together solution until a more robust in-world audio solution comes together.
Exactly. We could easily do that with Decentraland because we already have ways to stream like live audio. That's not as tough as the video stuff. And it did work really well, Matthew. Like when we presented a couple things, that was cool. And at the end, it was just this big hangout, and we're just all hanging out. It was fun.
Yep.
Bence, any last words on your next game that we can get a hint at?
I don't know if any of you heard, but I'm making a Mario Kart type game. That's going to use the Infinity Engine.
Very cool.
And so my challenge with that was to scale it down to a single parcel. So it should work even on a single parcel, and you should have 4 players playing on a single parcel, each one above the other. So 4 racetracks using the Infinity engine. So the environment is moving, the guys are not moving. So the car is basically standing on the center of the parcel, and you can race along the track.
That's badass, man.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
That is so forward.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, I'll just wait until it shows up. You know, that's what I'll just wait until it shows up. Let me know when we can do the big event, and I'll announce it. You know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be side by side bit. So if I'm playing, can I like knock the guy next to me, or is it different? Like, am I gonna be myself?
So everybody will see each other on their own tracks. So it's basically like the Moonshot game where you see others as astronauts. So you're not gonna see the avatars, but you will see the others' cars.
Yeah.
So you will bump into each other and shoot. I don't know, power up. Things at each other.
I can't believe you're doing all this by yourself.
Yeah, I can't either. I don't know what happened. I'm just setting these challenges. Okay, I made the Infinity engine, then I made a multiplayer game, and now I try to make a multiplayer game with Infinity engine technology.
That's so cool.
That's next up.
I was just thinking that wherever you deploy your games, like the land next to it will get more valuable, right?
That's the given, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So let me know where you're deploying next, basically.
Yeah, man. Matty's like, that's my department.
I'm gonna start wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, for real. It happened here. Like I bought land here. This is like not that big, a deal in this area. And the next thing you know, the next door land stopped being what it used to be, because I was gonna buy the land next door and maybe 2 lands next door, and I can't afford them anymore. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, just on the that. Sorry, I know we're finishing off, but quickly back to the that racing game. Essentially, can you use that same land to switch the track without changing the full build? Is there a way to just, because it's all on the surrounding thing, right? That's what changes the element of the game and the map of the game. So is there a way to just have like 10 different maps in the same parcel somehow?
Yeah, I think
that's the plan. So
that's cool.
Wow, that's like a full game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll see. So it's a challenge to fit it into the 10,000 triangle limit, but otherwise, I have little road pieces that I'm duplicating along a curve, so I can store 1,000 curves which describe a racetrack. So the shape could definitely be stored for like 100 different racetracks. The looks, that's another issue. If I want to have like desert or grass or concrete around that, so I have to store all those, and it has to fit the limits. But otherwise, it's possible.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm starting to see people make more utility from smaller and smaller parcels. Before, I think it was just like, if you have a 50-piece land, that's only when you can make something cool. And now people are doing pretty cool things on 4-piece lands. And now, with this and the Infinity engine and all that, I think the more utility we can have for single parcel land, that's when people are really going to start to see the value in these lands. But right now, I think it was like, 16 by 16 meter land. What could you do with it? Just drag and drop a few trees and you were done, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think
it actually comes from discussions with Will, who said that if I do something that's one parcel, it will sell
it's
on
more,
Amazon.
it's more attainable by the
A lot
average
of people
user.
have a single parcel, so
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think we got a lot of good things coming. We got a lot of very forward-thinking people that are here. People like Will, people like Bence, So yeah, put your brains together and you can figure it out.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, man. We do this weekly. I know it's a challenge to get everybody on the same page, like with time zones and everything. So I want to thank you guys for coming, and all the citizens out there for supporting everything that all of us are doing. So thank you guys, and hopefully we'll be back in a week if we're all still around, I guess.
Definitely. All right, thanks a lot, guys. People in the world, if you guys want to go check out a couple of cool art pieces, I've got a couple pretty cool art pieces that I put upstairs. So if you check out the 3rd and 4th floor, there's some pretty nice stuff up there.
All right.
Thank
you, Nico, man. Appreciate it.
Definitely.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Later,
Thanks,
y'all.
Matthew.
See you
Appreciate
guys.
Nico.